my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a first quarter check-in regarding my reading goals for the year. If you are interested in seeing my original video where I introduce my reading goals, I will link that video in the description box below. I think this is, we're only like 3.5 months into the year, you know, if I'm just checking in, seeing how am I doing, seeing where I can improve. Alright, so let's get into it. So my first goal was to read 100 books, and this was in anticipation of being able to go back to work this summer. Well, that project's been canceled. And even without that, my goal was 100 books. So at this point in the year, I should have read 25. And at the time that I am filming this, I have read 45. So that's not a problem. I don't feel like I'm going to adjust the goal just yet. I'll probably, I'll reevaluate that when we're halfway through the year. That number is not really the most important number in this goal. So my next goal was to read at least 2 books a month that fulfilled some kind of learning about a diverse group, a diverse community, becoming more aware of some kind of community. This could either be like reading about a POC experience or reading about disability activism or something that features a trans character or a trans author. I mean, it's a very vague category. And that one, yeah, I'm doing good with that. I mean, it's for how many books I read a month, it's kind of a low goal, but I'm such a mood reader that I wanted to have a lot of flexibility. My next goal was to read 50% of the TBR that I had at the beginning of the year. That was 23 books. So my goal for the year was to read 11 of them. And I have read 9. So I am on track for that. So that's great. My next goal is to read, I was saying like reading 10 non-North American, Europe, white authors, which I think I have now learned like the term is like global North versus non-global North. 10 authors over the course of the year that are like not white and not based in global North countries. Which at this point I've only read 1. I have a couple of authors that were born and like raised in other places, but then migrated to like the US or the UK and have spent most of their adult lives here, so I don't really know how to count them. But in terms of an author who is not white, not based in a global North country, born and raised and still lives there, I've only read 1. But I have at least 1 this month that I'm guaranteed to read. So I'm not too worried about that, but it is worth checking in that I'm like, I'm at 1, I should be at 2 or 3 at this point, so worth noting. In a similar vein, my goal was to read 10 translated works. I have only read 1. There's 1 that I am guaranteed to read this month. And I have gone through my Goodreads to be read shelf and made a list of all of my translated works, so at least it'll be easier for me to find which translated works have I already looked up and expressed interest in. So hopefully that will help me with that goal. My next goal was of new books, so not counting rereads, of new books to me. I want to read 50% from my library. And I've read 31 new to me books and 19 were from my library. So yeah, I'm about on track for that goal. My next goal was to film monthly wrap-ups. So far I'm doing good with that. I have discovered that they are not really my favorite thing to film, but I am getting better at taking notes so that I don't have like 2.5 hours of footage to film. So that's going to be something that I'm keeping an eye on of how do I, if I want to continue doing wrap-ups, how do I tailor them to be more fun for me? Or what am I going to do instead? Because part of the wrap-ups is like an accountability for me. It's really good for my memory and like my emotional processing to have to do some kind of summary and wrap-up about books. So I still want to do something like that, but I am learning how to make it easier and more fun for myself. And also I'm thinking about, okay, if I wasn't going to do a traditional monthly wrap-up, what would I want to do instead that accomplishes that same goal? We'll see how that pans out. Okay, my next goal was to read 25% nonfiction. That one's been a bit of a struggle. I'm currently at like 17% of the books I've read have been nonfiction. I have quite a few nonfiction that I want to read this month. So, I think that should catch me up. But that's definitely a number I need to keep my eye on. My next goal was to read 4 books in Spanish. I have not read any. So, need to keep an eye on that one as well. And then my last goal was to read 1 reread to unhaul book a month. And so I've actually thought of a better name for that, and I think I should make a whole video about it, but I've finally figured out a name that I want to use. My amnesia reads. Books I know that I have read. They're books I own, books I know I've read. I don't remember anything about them. Or I remember I liked it, but I don't remember anything about the plot. Or, you know, so I kind of called it reread to unhaul because they were books that my gut instinct doesn't want to get rid of until I have some sense of what I actually think about them. Anyway, so my goal was to at least read 1 a month, and I've been a little uneven with that, but it evens out overall. So what I mean is, in January I read 4 that fit that category, but then in February I read 0. And then in March I read 1. And I've picked the one that I am going to read for this month. So, you know, if my yearly goal was to read 12 of that category, yeah, I'm on track for that. So I think overall I'm doing pretty good. Definitely where I need to look at is non-global North authors, translated works, and don't forget about wanting to read some books in Spanish. I had pretty good judgment in making these goals of knowing what things I kind of just wanted to track but weren't going to be difficult for me to reach, and then what areas do I need a little bit of encouragement but aren't going to feel uncomfortable or not fun. That's it. This is going to be a very short video for me, but you know what, that's good. It's great. So anyway, put my notebook down. Alright, so that's my little check-in. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I encourage you to go out into the world and be curious. I will have my other social media links in the description box as well if you want to connect with me elsewhere. I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye!